This is Ruroc HQ, and we're here to check out the new EOS helmet. Not only are we doing an in-depth review of this new lid, we're actually going behind the scenes to meet the team that made it happen. So let's go check it out. Ruroc's story actually began with a snowboarding accident. After surviving an avalanche, one of the founders set out to create a full-face helmet for better protection on the slopes.
I think there was a couple of his mates as well, which wasn't caught up in avalanches and all sorts of things. Why hasn't anyone actually come up with a full face helmet? So when he came back to the UK, they decided to build pen to paver. To be honest, that's where the brand has always kept its roots. They're consistently evolving and changing, like within a fraction of the time that helmets have.
Why can't we go out there, disrupt and change things up?
On that note, we headed up to speak to the design team. I was one of the first to say that the Atlas still had a few rough edges, so it was awesome to speak to the people taking that feedback on board when designing the EOS.
The EOS was a complete rebuild, so every single component you look at on an EOS is totally different. The only thing that is the same is the FIDOC. From vague, very early day helmet sketches of like something like that looks very different to something like that, which looks very different to something like that. It's all kind of pushing the boundaries of what design could be in this space.
Next, we talked about one of my favorite changes, the new placement of the Shockwave.
We basically rode around the car park with the helmet rigged out with a bunch of buttons. And so the objective was to kind of just give the helmet to people, not really give them too much context of what we're doing, but see which buttons were more natural for people to press, which then actually, once reading that data, we could see that people were really comfortable with pressing these buttons. And so we knew, okay, that was the area that we wanted to hone in on. This is the type of thinking we go into it with. We don't want to have a preconceived idea of what this thing needs to be, because then that affects your design of the actual thing. So you go into it with this open mind of, what if we can redefine the way that this goes? And that's what we do for every component on the helmet. So we'll do that with visor, latch, we'll do it with the nose vent, we'll do it with the lower trim, we'll do it with the spoiler, we'll try and take apart every single component on the helmet and make sure there's no stone unturned, really.
It could come down to an age thing or a personality thing as well, but how do you balance the design of a Ruroc versus the traditional customer?
What point can you push the design to a place where you start to look not like a Ruroc anymore, but you start to look like the competitors?
Next, we headed over to Ruroc's in-house testing area for a demonstration of safety.
So we're here in the safety room with Tom. He's the head of design.
Head of design and engineering.
Absolutely. We're going to have a chat about 2206 and safety.
Yeah, cool. So we've got a mock-up here. This is one of the Atlas 4s that we just used for a visual sort of representation of all of the different impact locations that actually go through on the helmet. So coming up from 2206, 2205, we had the sort of standard points X, B, P, and R. With 2206, we've got the additional points around the outside. So they don't test all of these points. The test house will choose, I believe, 4 of the points. They need to be equally spaced out by a certain distance on there, and it's at their discretion which points they test. So the more points are sort of tested on the helmet, the safer the helmet. Another point on 2206 they added in was rotational management, which has been sort of more important thing with concussion. If you go back and look at NFL players, that's become like massive in NFL now, and that's like a lot lower speed impacts than like motorcycle impacts. A bit less hopefully for motorcycle impacts, but that shaking of the brain can have like a serious like effect on brain damage. So that rotational management sort of helps alleviate that and puts more focus on maybe if you're just falling off your bike at slower speeds and you're not having those serious like knocks, your brain's still being having that shake effect. So it's about reducing that overall like low energy impacts and that rotational impact where your head is being like violently sort of twisted or rotated, and how we can reduce that impact on the brain. On the inside of the helmet, and it's the same on the EOS, we were using the Rion technology. So this helps us both in linear and rotational. So we have the shear part of the Rion, which allows us to move in a lateral plane, and then the vertical plane is the impact. So it's non-Newtonian material, so it's soft to touch, but underneath a hard impact, it solidifies to absorb that energy in there, which is really cool.
Yeah, I really oversimplified it in the last video, and I said it was like custard. Like custard, you can put your hands through it, but then you hit it, and it makes a big.
I think that's a good analogy of it, definitely. Got a test rig set up, so we can do a drop.
Yeah, that'd be wicked.
Cool. This one's already been dropped on the weekend, so this is going to be like the second drop.
Can't say that Ruroc don't safety test the helmets. They're about to ruin this beautiful carbon helmet, just to show us. You get that feeling like when you're a roller coaster rider, you just go.
It just starts going up.
Yeah.
Down the road. So this is 7.5 meters per second. So this simulates an impact speed of around 17 mile an hour.
Does everyone go quiet every time that happens? Oh god, what's happening now?
So if you can look, this is actually the second time this helmet's been dropped in this position at the same speed. So the carbon starts to crack, which means it's absorbed the energy and gone through and done its job, which is really cool.
No puncture wounds, still safe.
Yeah.
Still got your brain in there.
Cool.
You see a lot of people like, I think we were saying earlier on Facebook, they've got some really messed up Ruroc helmets, but they're still fully intact.
Yeah, we actually had a message today from some guy that had, I think he had a crash at 60 mile an hour. Ruroc saved his life. So yeah, it's really nice to be able to do something for the community, to be able to help increase on that safety, on the safety being like one of the biggest things we've got here. So yeah, we do loads and loads of in-house testing here. We also use external test houses to be able to validate and certify all of our products. Batch testing as well. So every 3,000 units, 100 have to go for batch testing, externally tested for every single batch that goes through.
Lots of testing.
We'll go through and we'll go have a look at some of what we've got here is we've got some different compositions, so some different layups of carbon fibre, different materials, so like looking at other things sort of like Negra, Kevlar, different layers of carbon, fiberglass. And what you can actually see here is this is actual penetration tests. So this is something that's more on the DOT testing, but it's quite a good test. It's really representative of those puncture wounds you could get in the helmet. So you can see by changing the different compositions how that diameter sort of changes and how it impacts on the helmet. So understanding that and the properties of your fibre is really important to understand how the helmet's actually going to perform.
You're testing them separately, like this is a carbon, this is a fibre, like seeing how they.
Yeah, so we've got different models all set up.
That's awesome, because these are used in the real world. You never know what's actually going to happen to the person.
No, you don't.
You have no idea. So like they probably will never get hit with a big metal spike, but it could happen.
It could happen. Yeah, so, it's very, very easy. And again, we try and test in like various places because it's very hard to say I'm going to crash into a P point.
Yeah.
So
exactly. You've got to be prepared for it, regardless.
There's quite a lot of rigorous testing that goes on.
Some people don't like the fidlock for some reason. I really like it because I can put it on with my gloves on.
Yeah.
You can't do that with a double
Yeah,
D.
no. I find it quite good in terms of if you're like starting out on a ride and you completely forget. I can easily put on a helmet and forget.
Gloves on.
Gloves on. But with the fidlock, it's a bit of that muscle memory as well. Once you know the location, you can just flick it up, which is really nice. I find a double D ring is a bit tedious to try and do.
I agree. Just get the little red tab, boom.
Yeah, it's nice. Done. It's just really easy to take off as well.
And that's outsourced to
So that's Fidlock's proprietary technology. Is that magnetic catch system works really well. I think a few years ago, we lifted up KTM with just a chin strap. So yeah, your head's coming off before before that's coming apart.
After that, we caught up with Ruroc's lead interior design engineer, Alicia.
How did Rion come about? Was it something that you were looking into? Did they approach you? Did you approach them?
Rion's in the 4.0, and Rion's also in our RG1, which is the sort of like flagship snow sport helmet. And then it was just sort of, we've had that partnership with them anyway, and it's like, how can we push this further and sort of get the motorsport side of things also covered by Rion and get that extra element of sort of protection from them, you know?
Speaking of Rion, you go.
One I made earlier. Yeah, so with this headliner, obviously taking all the feedback back from 4.0 and things like that, is better ventilation, better fit, and so hence why we've also got the slimline padding with the cheek pads and stuff like that as well. But yeah, with that, it's kind of, we have the same strips on the top here, but then to better utilise the sort of ventilation and things like that, there's obviously less material around the sides. But then actually, obviously when you look at it like this, it doesn't look like much, but when you look at it within the helmet, you can see it actually does cover your like head quite well and fits to the EPS nicely. So it's trying to just get a balance of all of that sort of stuff.
It's super comfortable when you're in there because you can feel it like, I think also with this one you feel, not so much cocoon, but it's like a hug of the head with the whole helmet, every part of you, up to obviously under your eyes, you can feel the support, and that gives you a bit of like reassurance really when you're riding. You know if you come off, that bit's gonna absorb the, you know what I mean? You feel more protected.
You want to feel secure, you want to have like a nice like fitting helmet.
Yeah, the inclusion of the slimline cheek pads is a bit of a game changer for me because I don't know if I've got a weird head shape, everyone's head shape's a little bit different, but like most of it was perfect fit, but that was just a little bit too much.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
The fact that I didn't have to speak to, didn't have to change sizes, didn't even know when I got the helmet, it was just, oh, there's slimline cheek pads in there. To fit them, perfect.
But yeah, I think for this helmet in particular, we've had over 100 people like use it, fitment tests and stuff like that over the span of the whole development.
Yeah.
And even within that, like 100 people is like all different shapes, head sizes and stuff like that. But we fit for an intermediate oval, so we do understand that there are like different head shapes and things like that. There's only so much that we can obviously do without compromising the helmet too much. And also, if it was to fit every single head shape, then you never know, like you'd then be compromising on sort of safety in terms of like EPS thicknesses and things like that, and we're never going to compromise on safety, we're never going to do that, so we just state like this is the sort of the best fitting helmet for that head shape, but then also trying to cater for as many people as possible with the slimline padding as well.
Yeah, just coming back to the two cheek pad sizes, you've got a bit of flexibility there between the sizes as well. So like I don't need to step up to a large, that fits fine now with that on there, because large would be another shell size, which might look a bit like one of those bobbleheads you have on the dashboard at some point. But you have that flexibility then straight out of the box without paying anything more, so that is awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, because I'm the exact same. I think in 4.0, I think I had to go to a medium, and it felt nice and things like that, but I prefer like a tighter fit, and with the slimline smalls I'm able to, that fits okay. And again, I'm obviously a tiny person, so tiny helmet to go with it, but yeah.
One thing I noticed you guys did as well, like some of the feedback, and I'm guilty of this, I said this in the video, I'll admit, this bit.
Yeah.
So that's now closed off, which is awesome, because in the 4.0 it wasn't, you had the two seams.
Yeah.
Then you had people moving it and complaining that you could see the EPS moving and stuff, but now it's all one flush bit.
Yeah.
So that's like added a lot. I don't know if that was obviously a conscious decision you guys made, but that's added a massive difference to the premium look and feel.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was one like the main point is it just gives that more premium feel, and I think when you open up that visor and look inside, just looks really nice interior.
It's all consistent. But yeah, that was one of the things that we wanted. Obviously, the user experience isn't just you wearing it, but it's also you installing it yourself after you've washed it or anything like that.
There's no overarching theme throughout this video. It's going to be like the feedback that people have given. It's been acted upon us and it's been changed literally in the next model. So everything that I said in the 4.0 review video has kind of been addressed.
Yeah.
So that's really good to see.
Finally, we talked about the new Shockwave and the new Cardo partnership with Tom.
So we're just talking about the Shockwave kind of placement and install process now. To be fair, I did it on my 4.0 with the that one was super simple.
Yeah.
You rip your liners out, install the speakers.
Well, we tried to simplify this even more. So you're not installing any cables now. It's just like a plug and play. Separated the HMI, which is your sort of button interface, and then we've got the battery side as well. So if you're going out on those like long rides, or you want to take a few extra battery packs a day, just easy just to pop off, swap them over. Again, you don't have to like take out a whole unit to be able to go charge it or unplug anything. It's just pop the battery side off. So we really looked at how we could simplify it and make it a lot more easier for the customer to be able to use.
One thing I think might be overlooked, but is awesome, is the battery placement on the other side. I found with the old Shockwave, you either had to take it out or balance it, like to plug it in, balance it on something like that, because the charger went there. So now, having it on the side, you can just pop your helmet on charge and leave it as it is.
It's loads easier.
So simple, but so good. So elegant, better way to do it.
So in the box you get the USB-C cable for charging. You get your Harman card and speakers and microphone.
They're awesome, by the way. I use mine on my phone every day.
They're really cool. They're really good sound quality. You get your Shockwave, so your HMI unit, and then you've got your battery unit on the opposite side.
You've got this slight thing on the side which you need for your buttons, but it's a lot less intrusive than the big units that people normally get.
Yeah, we tried to make it as slimline as possible. Ideally, we would have loved it to be flat, but in order to be able to get an antenna away from the carbon fibre, we just needed that little bit of extra room inside.
But if you look at the other side, there's nothing there. It's the same as it was, really.
Yeah.
For the battery, that just clicks into place.
So you get about 12 hours of battery life out of the Bluetooth system, which is really good.
And you said you can either swap the battery really easy, or you can just charge it.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be right for more than 12 hours, really. Probably need to have a nap. Stretch your legs or something. But if you look from the front, you still can't see it.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like head-on front profile, you can't see that.
I can't tell if anything's installed on it whatsoever. I like a bit of classic rock on the way to work, so
Nice.
they're perfect for that.
I brought along the other unit, so we've been developing another unit with Cardo. So this is the Shockwave powered by Cardo. So you can click this into place. So it's the same whole system. So you can just swap out your HMI, clicking your new Shockwave. It's got slightly, I think it's about 2 mil extra on the depth on there of height. That was just due to the antenna and pushing that really far away in order to be able to get the range. So I think we are 1,200 meters on the mesh, so rider to rider. It's in perfect sort of conditions. You can connect up to 15 riders on a group mesh. We can also connect to all of the other Cardo products, so even if someone's riding with a pack talk edge or something, you can still connect to them with this unit.
So even if they haven't got one of these in particular, but they've got a different Cardo unit, we can on that.
Yeah, still connect through.
That's awesome. Opens it up to everybody then.
It does. It really fits in with the aesthetics of the helmet. So again, you can't really see it from that front view, so it's quite inintrusive to the helmet.
Yeah. If you get any kind of bolt-on Cardo unit, they're going to be this size or bigger anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they are more like at least they clip them onto the side of the helmet, so it's not like it's any different really in terms of having that functionality there, and it's a bit more streamlined if anything.
Yeah, that's good. Test out now and let us know your thoughts on it.
I'm sure they'd be awesome. Like I said, I use the 4.0 and got every day.
Yeah, well, you were saying about that issue about having the phone call, so literally tap there.
Be a lifesaver. I'm not going to have the telephone ringing, mate, because you know the Apple ringtone noise. Yeah, it's very loud. The speakers are really good. You've just got it blaring. It's like your alarm clock in the morning. You can't do anything about it.
It just echoes around your head.
You can't even go like, Siri, answer the phone. You can't do any of that. So you're just there like...
Overall, I loved my day behind the scenes at Ruroc, and I hope we can do something again soon. I recognise passion when I see it, and the team showed just how much they value your feedback, and how they implement it to continue to improve. They've nailed the new helmet. I think it's absolutely awesome, and the Ruroc team are too. Thank you for watching and subscribing.
So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything